was married for a very short time in 2005, and that was the only person she knew as dad, is what she called. But obviously, um,
So her close family here is you.
is our immediate family. Yeah, she's only my youngest sister is just 21, so she, Abby, and my sister were closer like siblings than they were
Sure.
aunt and niece at
Yeah,
this
yeah.
age. Like to go shopping together with my other sister, watch movies, play games, did all of those things. Had their tiffs because my sister's older than her and started to, have other friends and be out and work. And
Sure.
there's that adjustment where she felt like, she was a little lost. Like she doesn't want to hang out with me and she kicks me out when we do that. I'm like, well, she's older now. She's got a boy that she's talking to and she wants her private, just almost, it's just, it happens.
Why do you think that day they dared to cross that bridge?
I don't know that they hadn't before, quite honestly.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Because much as I've said, sometimes you don't get to hear everything all the time as it's happening. I don't know that they did, and I don't know that they didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know what their thought was on that day. I think about different situations or scenarios of that afternoon on what in the world they were thinking. But I think she was fearless. Abby loved the roller coasters, loved the fast stuff. Uh, she was slightly timid when she started learning how to drive a four-wheeler, but that quickly passed. Like she just did. So I'm not even sure if, being their teenage minds, if they thought, well, gee, what happens if I fall? That's a really long way down. Gee, maybe having grown up with 6 siblings and friends that were daring like them, I always have the plan. Go over to help a friend out, and I'm thinking, okay, if
What's
they
the
fall off the
route?
route, okay, so she's gonna need to drive. I should drive the kids. We'll have him drive. We're good. And Emery's like, what are you even worried? I'm like, because I know you people.
Yeah.
Like I can't even plan an afternoon of golfing without seriously considered a first aid kit might be needed, because this is how things are.
I understand.
So I don't think these girls had thought that when they did cross the bridge that day.
What does it tell you that this guy could cross the bridge so easily? I couldn't. I froze up. I couldn't do it.
Well,
does that mean that he's done it before? Do you think he's local? I guess is the question.
I don't know what I think about all of that, because it just seems hard to believe that somebody so local that is that familiar with this bridge that we haven't found him yet.
Yeah.
But our family's been here less than 20 years. If you haven't lived in Carroll County for 3 generations, you're new. So there's a lot of folks, I'm sure. I have friends that I've heard of. They said, oh, yeah, back in the day, we used to run on that thing with quads. Drive four-wheelers. See, again, this is why you need to have a plan.
Yeah.
We're stupid, in my opinion, but that's just me. I think differently than these.
Yeah.
Than these kids that have grown up here. I mean, much like kids that grow up in the city, taking a train or a bus, or all these different folks are a common stance for them, and it's not here.
Do you think she picked up pretty quickly that this guy was a danger? Did she think much about stranger danger?
We'd had an incident, I remember a few years ago, where we were in a store, and as I always do, I tend to see who's standing in line as they're checking out, and generally people that are in the checkout see who's coming through the door. It's a small town, so where you do your quick wave, hey, I haven't seen you, how's it going, how's the kids, da-da-da. But I remember that particular incident. Then when we got outside, one of those people was actually cats. That's Abby's cat, by the way. That is Bongo. Yeah, noxious. That there was somebody sitting in their car, and they were parked right next to it, and it was one of those. I noticed they were watching as we left, and I think he made a comment like, you look like you know who I am, or something of that nature. And I said, I said, well, I've worked in a variety of jobs here locally, tend to see a lot of different people, and then not see people for a long time. But I don't recall specifically. And I kind of remember she'd gotten into the car, which was actually on his side of the car, but at that time it was all very normal. And then he kind of glanced down, and then he kind of looked back up, and then I just got in the car and we left. It was middle of the afternoon. It wasn't like,
Did you get the feeling that he was paying attention to her?
No.
No, just
No. I think it was just an offhanded situation.
Yeah.
But one of those that when we were driving, she's like, that guy kind of creeped me out. And I was like, well, you're getting old enough to know that. I said, so if you ever feel that way, and you're in a store, don't go right into your car. She's like, I don't even drive yet. I said, no, but one day you will. I said, so if you're ever in a situation where somebody makes you feel uncomfortable, turn around and go back inside. Wait. Call somebody. Ask security to walk you out. Don't ever ignore something that kind of feels off. I said, and you're going to find that as you get older, you might have friends and you're going to go to a party and something will just sit wrong with you. Pay attention to that.
Sure.
But I didn't try to scare her about the world, because sometimes first impressions aren't always, what you think.
You don't want them to grow up fearful,
right? And I never saw. I don't. I try not to.
Even now.
Even now, I have some anxiety issues.
Sure.
Not a lot, but I'm not a big fan of large crowds in dark places. I got tickets for my dad to go see Bob Seger for his birthday, and they were floor tickets, and it was going to be at Auburn Hills, one of the last concerts of the year for that place before they tore down the Palace. And he was like, well, you've got to come with me. And I can't. I can't do 40,000 strangers in the dark. I can go outside. I can be in an outside concert, and I do okay, because I get up and put my distance, take a breather, and come back. But
were you part of the search party in the morning?
I never went out looking that morning. No, I stayed at the fire department. My dad was coming back from Michigan. He had spent the weekend before with Abby, and then I had taken the girls to the park to play a little catch and hit and whatnot. And he had just returned because of winter break. He headed up Sunday night with the idea, that he'd be down in a few weeks. So he had he had gotten home, and then they didn't come back from their walk, and he didn't have Facebook, so he didn't hear about any of it until 4 or 5 in the morning, which is when I know we got up to work. And I remember making that phone call and it feeling like when I had to call him to tell him I was expecting Abby. Oh, this is going to be not good. And he did. He was very upset. He said, why didn't you call me sooner? I said, what were you going to do? Turn around and drive back? I mean, I said, this was like, going on all evening. I said, you could have started halfway down here. I said, and then you would have reamed her out the same as me, and you've got to go to work. I really figured that they would have come back by now. I don't know what's going on, and he's like, well, I'm on my way, and he checked in at work, told him what was going on. He arrived down here an hour or so before the girls were found. So they had requested clothing because the scent dogs were coming. So I had gone home. There were people coming in, family and friends. I was just trying to be at home base, be there for when the girls were brought back, were found. The same thing that when I'd gone home to change clothes, I grabbed her jacket and put it in the back of the car because she didn't have one. She's going to need a jacket when she's going to be cold.
what um, what do we need to know about, uh, and what don't we need to know about um, what happened? The police have been very careful not to release
Hmm.
information, and you guys have too. Was that a conscious decision that you made altogether?
Uh, I don't know. I don't know the hows and the whats and whys any more than me deciding not to let people in her room.
Yeah,
It's just something that suddenly comes over you. Um, the whole situation is terrifying, and if I let myself live that day and that this whole thing over and over and over again, I'd be in a nut
yeah.
house. Um,
What do you ever go online and see what people are saying there?
oh yeah, oh yeah,
On Have you been on Reddit and
yep,
those places? And that's got to be
yep.
really difficult.
It is. Mostly, it's just try to see what people are thinking, or the people that try to enhance the photos and the
Sure.
stories, and some of them are downright vicious. I will say personally that there's a gentleman in California by the name of Robert Lindsay, that the first article that he put out concerning our girls, I didn't read about to begin with, and a friend brought it to my attention, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, I understand that this was a cover up because Abby was pregnant." I'm like, "Oh, really? Really?" So it got to the point where people were kind of assuming that there was a lot of factual information,
Yeah,
and
that's the
it's
danger.
sorting
Is yeah,
out the what sometimes what people first initially read. Well, that's just set in stone.
yeah,
Any more than people argue about different death dates. For the record,
yeah.
they both passed away on the 13th. Neither one was alive on the morning of the 14th.
Sure.
As it was explained to me by our local funeral director, Indiana uses the found date. You can have a heart attack in your
Yeah, sure.
office, and if you're not found for 3 days, they use the day that you were
Yeah.
found.
And somebody sitting on their couch in San Jose, California, doesn't particularly know police procedure,
Oh,
and
probably not. They claim to. There's a
yeah.
lot of folks that claim to know a lot of things about us and this situation. Um,
Do you have to check it every day, or have you made peace with it, and can you just kind of ignore it at this point?
I poke around from time to time just to see what's new,
Yeah.
just to see what folks are,
Has
trying to gather up.
any of it been helpful? Yeah.
Other than the really good friends that make a point of saying, "I know these families,
Yeah.
leave them alone.
Good.
Why are you bothering?" The people attempting to write a book, the people that are holding fundraisers in the girls' names. Um,
What are they doing with that money? Who
well,
knows?
sometimes they turn it over, and
Yeah.
sometimes they don't, and it's very hard to keep track of. You expect folks to do things out of goodwill. They want to do something, and most are appropriately, but not everybody. And the same thing with some of the stuff that has come out online. It's not all helpful. It's all a waste of time, but people just can't seem to get past it. And I understand. They think I'm being a naysayer. I'm like, this is my child we're talking about. I want this so much more than you do. You have no idea.
Yeah.
But if they see us out doing something other than the
Yeah.
girls, well, then we're doing so much better and we've moved on. There's no moving on.
No.
There's moving forward. And moving forward means that once a month during the summer, my girlfriends and I get together. We haul ourselves down to Indy. We go to a concert. We laugh and we giggle and we talk and we have mom time. We go floating. We are still these people that have to move around in the world. We go back to work.